we probably all know this hustle culture that evolved in the last, I don't know, 3 years when Andrew Tate got big. And many young men were now following his message to make money and kind of be the alpha male. To an extent, I think it was actually good for the world, for some young men to wake up and get out of their comfort zone in a way, right? They finally went to the gym. They finally cared about the success and wealth they can build up. But all of this has also brought lots of downsides, right? So you go onto YouTube or Shorts, TikTok, and you scroll and see all these hustle videos of guys telling you that you have to get big, that you have to get a lot of money. And quite frankly, that's a nice bonus, right? But we're getting onto this content and it changes our perception of what is really important over time, right? You can kind of imagine the rock that has been sitting underwater for so long, there's a hole in it now. That's kind of like what happens to a brain with media. It drills into your brain and then plants these new beliefs that you didn't even have in the beginning, right? And you could argue that's learning. But I actually think we lose our mission, we lose our purpose when we see those videos. Like the content we consume will eventually just rip us from our original core desire, from our initial truth, and kind of build all of this fog around us so that we can't see clearly anymore what is really important to us. Like, how many guys do you think went onto this copywriting shit and then lost touch with their family? Of course, these guys might have the goal to make a lot of money. And then for success, you have to sacrifice things, right? That's how it works. But is money really the thing that we want to sacrifice our parents, our relationships for? If we look back into tradition, like into the Asian room, for example, like they would rather have this value of living with their family instead of making that much money. And they actually make the money to get their family into a better spot. And over this hustle culture, it's just this pressure from all around you that actually tells you to get big in 2025 now, or you're lost. While these guys are like, it's this entire branch. Let's be honest, it's kind of obvious that it's about marketing things. Like a few years back, I actually fell into this little shorts guy, which was advertising on cleaning windows, like working with a window cleaning service and then going from house to house, door to door sales, and then trying to sell the house owners their service and they get a bit of extra money for that. And I actually believed this guy that this could work. So I wanted to do this I told this to my mom and she just said that I'd be crazy. And a few months later I actually realized that he was just selling this little marketing program on how to market better. So all these shorts were like here, how's you? So all these shorts were, here's how you can make so much money as a teenager just by going door to door and speaking. And back then, I considered myself well at speaking, well at convincing others. Well, now I have the humility to say, actually, I'm still working on it, and I'm not on the level that I could be on, right? But going back to this media stuff, we get all of these beliefs, and these beliefs, they are from these individuals that maybe don't even want us good, right? They want to sell their services, so they create urgency in us. They create this feeling of, if you don't do this, then you're a failure. That's completely wrong. Like, I had a guy in my last class which went up to the teacher and asked him for financial advice and that he wants to get rich. And the teacher, he was a total Chad, right? So he fled from, I believe it was Syria, and then brought his family with him to Germany. And then the teacher said to him, but why? You are already rich. You have a good family. You're in the education system. You wear good clothes. Why are you not rich? And the kid just kept insisting on saying, yeah, but I want to be rich, right? And from that, like, he consumed all these Instagram shorts. And to me, he said, hey, let's start a business. Because back then I was also kind of big on becoming a businessman, because I also fell for the trap of that money is so important. And money is quite nice, but it's not the core desire, the core value we should develop in our lives, right? You believe me if I'm saying this. You wouldn't be watching, right? So, if we know that all of this media can reshape our minds, then there's two options that we can go to, right? We can stay ignorant and then get all of these false implants into our minds. We can stop consuming media and then live our own truth, or we can actually consume positive media to boost us further in our endeavors that we want to get big in. This summer I was in this huge Chinese monk phase. I'm not even gonna lie, it was a bit cringe, but I discovered this YouTube channel. I'm actually gonna give a call out here. It's called English Buddhist Monk. This is a guy who every day records his videos and teaches about the Buddhist ways. And he lives in Thailand and is like a completely, dependent monk, right? You get what I'm saying? Because he still gets the donations from you guys, but he lives in a small house, like a small cottage. And right there, when I looked at his videos, I was getting so motivated to just also explore the nirvana further, to try to get to enlightenment even more. And now suddenly in the summer holidays, I was like meditating for 2 hours in one set. And meditating 2 hours. And then also getting off these things like compassion, and hate out, love for the world, you know. And through that, I'm actually gonna be honest, it might have been the phase in my life where I've made the most emotional freedom out of my brain. Just because I looked at this monk who was following his precepts, and also was so kind as to share to the world. And now that would be a nice bonus. But if we, like, the social media things are now laid out to grab our attention even more, right? They want us to scroll and scroll and scroll so they can roll more ads or whatever. So always we can't always just choose what we are watching. You know this, you go onto the toilet, try to take a poop, and then you're already scrolling like through 20 videos. It's that addictive, right? And you don't even notice it because after it's went to a habit, you just consume and consume. You know, suddenly the modern world tries to distract you with the newest fashion. Now you actually go into the phase of 2 weeks where you obsess about fashion. To have this media, like, most of it is actually just for the benefit of the others, right? For the ones that are creating the content. I'm genuinely trying to help others here and my younger self, which might have been in problems, which will have been in the problems that I'm talking about. But then there are also the guys who have something to sell to you. Like Andrew Tate, right? He had this, I believe it was Hustlers University, which he got millions of young men in and sold them something. It might have made their lives better, or it didn't change anything. I'm not in the depth of it. But I want to say, and I think it's important to call out, that the modern media actually distracts us more from what we are initially planning to do and what our real truth is. It builds up all this fog, as I said. So, how can we change this? Like, we could go off of social media completely. Like, there's quite a Instagram, I would say, is useless, right? Because you scroll and what's the texting for? Like, everybody has WhatsApp, right? And WhatsApp is way less stimulating than Instagram, yeah. And then there's YouTube. I'm using YouTube to spread my message, and I think it's actually very beneficial. But of course, there's these guys who want to make money with it and want to make it their business, and they upload these videos like Mr. Beast, just attention grabbing and then not really contributing to the world, right? Except for entertainment, which then hinders other people to go out and do their work. So it's kind of a rough ground, right? Like, over time, we have to accept that if we want to live with the media, we will not be ourselves anymore. You see these 11, 12-year-old kids who say skibidi and all these internet memes, right? Because this has gotten big. Everybody knows this because it's gotten all around the world. And now imagine the 13-year-old kids who scroll and have their whole feed, hi, have the whole feed filled with this. They just scroll and hear skibidi, skibidi, skibidi until they eventually dream of it because it's gotten that prominent. And then they make it their identity. And then suddenly they don't want to be a football pro anymore. They actually want to be unemployed. Right? And like, social media is a problem, and everybody knows that, widespread, right? But can we actually do something about it? It's quite of the thoughts I'm running through, and how could we How could we convince the guys that are suffering from social media, that are consuming the Mr. Beast videos, how could we overturn them to our side, like the anti-social media guides? I believe it's through social media, right? You fight these social media things with videos like this, that you say social media is actually bad for us. And most guys will agree, right? You agree because you've also had the experience that you scrolled for way too long, or had something to do, wanted to read a book, but then actually stayed in your seat and watched 2 more YouTube videos, maybe 5 more. And it's about this, like, the guys who watch the enlightened Buddhist videos, they can take a lot from that, even though their main goal would actually be, like, if you know the 5 truths of the Buddha, then you know it's actually just sitting down to meditate. You don't have to watch these videos. If you want to reach enlightenment, you want to sit down and meditate forever. But still, social media creeps up in 99% of lives, if not 100%. And now we face this epidemic of people who shove their beliefs onto other guys and say that it's the only right thing. They, like, not like me right now. I'm just trying to show you my point of view, but there's these guys who will say that money is the only true way, right? You know these guys. And guys that want to manage and market their muscle building program, because it sells, and urgency sells too. And if we get caught in all these videos, we lose ourselves. So I don't think I actually have to say much more about this. This has been my little journal on video. And I'm gonna think a lot more about this. And I hope you do too. Because this is a real big thing. Everybody kinda hates social media, but some use it. Yeah, no, there's one point I want to speak about still. Like, we had people with values, right? If you look back into history, like the medieval times, they had they had a god. They went to church and had all their values. But today you see more and more guys actually making social media their religion, right? So there's guys having almost the ritual of going onto Instagram when they wake up and scroll through for 20 minutes. It's like their prayer. And now we get to a point where our initial values actually get lost in the comfort that the social media brings, that the dopamine it brings out from us. So we miss the relationship goals, but now turn to growth on social media, like the TikTok boys, or money, like the alpha males, which want to market their product to you. So we basically get out of touch with the standard life. the more and more people believe that life that is bound to money for its success. If there's more people thinking this, then this will be the truth of the majority, and then it kind of gets dangerous because it hinders on that. So we could actually, like, the best call is actually to just blow social media off. We have a lot of gurus, and there's a lot of gurus. And once they try to market a product, they are going to be all over the internet, and then you'll slowly take over their beliefs because that's what people do. That's what humans do. They see others doing that, and so they want to do that too. And now it gets into rolling and rolling until nobody actually wants to. Until few people actually want to still have a great social life instead of wasting their time for money. Like, would you rather work 1 hour for 1,000K for the rest of your life, or would you actually prefer being with friends and going on to adventures? Because at a certain point, we know that money gets meaningless. It's actually rather the experiences you want to have. Because we still die, we are not invincible, and money won't change that, right? So it's always crazy to me when people say, when friends of me or mates of me come up to me and say that they want to build a business for the sake of the money and try to put as bit of effort into it as they can. Yeah. So this was my little rant. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay safe, man.